Be intelligent with the takers of the world. Be intelligent with the takers of the world. I believe that women, like, and guess what? I'm not even judging all women because I don't think that all women are takers. But now they're becoming boisterous on the internet about how much they take, and they're demanding that they take from you in order for you to have an opportunity to date them. The question I have for you, Soshai, is what is that opportunity exactly?
The opportunity that the woman say you have to show them in order for them to date you.
Yeah, I'm saying, but when you date them, what is the opportunity that you're getting from that experience?
There's no a real opportunity that you're getting from that
But
experience
you said
other
there's
than
no real, but what is the opportunity? What do they think the opportunity is?
that you're getting them. You're getting you have access to their bodies.
Oh,
Let me tell you a story. You know who John Legend is?
never heard of the guy.
Okay. You know that video, holla, holla, holla? You know
Yeah.
that video? You see that girl in the video?
Uh-huh.
I was once my girlfriend.
I gotta look at the video. I
All
gotta
right.
look at the.
When I used
Yeah, of
to.
course, I know.
Okay. So I'd met her a while back in Miami and at a club. And when I was walking out, I was like, she's gorgeous, right? I touched my friend. I was like, yo, you see that? He was like, yeah, go talk to her. So I didn't hear after we talked a couple of times. I didn't hear from her for like a year. And out of the blue, she called me. And at the time, I was doing property management. She was looking for an apartment. When she met me, I was doing. She asked me what I was doing, and I told her. Anyway, uh, the reason why she and I linked back up when she called was she was separating from her then boyfriend, who, by her words, told me that he makes $250,000 a year. He works for a telecom company, one of the big ones, start with an A. And but he's constantly cheating on her. So she didn't want to deal with that anymore. So she came back down from up north, back down south. And we started hanging out and then we got in a relationship. About 7 months, 8 months into the relationship, she started kind of acting weird. And at the time, she was taking care of her sisters, her deceased sisters and deceased brother-in-law's children. And she said that the reason why she's acting weird is because the children are asking why I'm always over at the house. They like me, but I'm sleeping there now. I was like, okay, I stopped. But that wasn't the truth. One of the children came and said, "So shy. This is the real reason why Auntie is doing this. Auntie broke up with the ex-boyfriend, but he's trying to come back. So he starts giving her money. And the reason why he knows about you is because he bribed he bribed one of the other children, which was that little girl's sister. So one was telling me what was going on, and the other one was telling him what was going on. So lo and behold, one day she woke up and it was 10 G's in her account. He wired 10 G's in her account. And then she started giving me the cold shoulder. And about a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, he was down in Fort Lauderdale. At the time I was working in Fort Lauderdale. And at the apartment. And she told me nothing about it. But not only that, about 2 weeks before that, I was driving a BMW and she borrowed my BMW and she gave me the car that he bought from her, which was I think a Pinto or something like that, or an old Malibu. I think it was a Malibu. She didn't like the car and she was gonna hang out with her friends, and so she wanted to be in a fly car, and I had a nice BMW. So I said okay. She said, "Oh, I only need it for one day to go out and hang out with them." She bought a car Friday. I didn't see her until I didn't see the car again until Monday, and I called her tons of times. She never answered my call but once, and then muted me after. Excuse me, muted me after that. Come to find out, I said, what's going on here? She said, well, you don't make the kind of money that he makes. I said, yeah, I know, but one day I will. She said, well, when you do, come back and get me. I said, really? So I must go and make the money instead of us building it together. And then when I make the money, I must come back and get you. Why would I do that? She said, well, when you come back, you get me. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean I get you? Oh, yes. And she did her body, use her hand and contour of her body. Oh, you get all of this. I said, all of this? Yes, access to my body. I said, but you're giving access to another guy right now that gave you 10 G's. Why do I want to have to be bothered with that again? And she said, because I'm worth it.
Okay, but what is the value? So you're paying for what exactly?
Access to her body.
Okay.
That's what she says. Access to her body.
That's it.
Yes, and I was getting the access before all of it.
Right, so you already had access to her body.
Every day. Every day. As many times as I wanted. Or
Ladies, do not use a one-time. I'm not even. These women will use a one-time thing. They think like guys have taught them that this is okay.
Yes.
Like if you're not a helpmate, then why am I investing my money into you? If you're not a help, like if you're not helping me relieve some area of my life in which I have stress, if you're not massaging me, cooking for me, listening to my issues, giving me decent perspective, just knowing, like, if you're not understanding me and knowing what it is that I want when I, like, you should be reading books that you know that I want, that I would know, that I need to know about, and you should be giving me notes from books that I need to read. You should be giving me ideas that help me increase what it is that I'm doing. You should be giving me you should be massaging me when I need, without me asking you. You should know exactly what I like, when I like, how I like it, and it should be your job to make sure that I have that, because it's my job to make sure that you're protected and provided for, right?
Right.
So I have to go out in the world and work hard, and that's why I can't get with this whole we're equal BS, because it's like, all right, cool, we might be equal, but we are equal in different ways.
Yes.
We might be equal, but I will never, in no way, shape, or form are we equal if I can't rely on you for a week straight or a month straight or a year straight to pay for our dinners.
Right. They don't
to take us out. To take me out and you out.
Right.
If they do that 3 times, Soshahi, they're gonna start complaining.
Of course. They don't understand what prerequisites are. They think that they're supposed to come and your hand's supposed to be stretched to give them what they want, and they don't have to do anything for it. When you have to go to college, you need to show that you can sustain that grade, so you have to do the prerequisites in high school before they allow you in their college.
Yeah, but the problem is that these simp guys, like the one you just described, they see, the fact that she said that to you says 2 things to me.
She ended up having a son for him, by the way, and now they're not together.
Yeah, of course they're not together.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew they weren't going to be together when you told me, when you started the story.
Right.
The reason why I knew they weren't going to be together when you started the story was, for one, she led with telling you how much money he makes. So therefore, she's alerting you in a passive aggressive way that in order for you, that she's entertaining someone else that makes this kind of money because she wants not the person, the benefit of being with that person. That's number one. So she doesn't really like the person. She likes the benefit of being with them. Guys, if you want to be with a woman who just wants the benefit of being with you, then because of your finances, then you're sacrificing. You might be gaining a gorgeous woman, but you're also gaining a headache because she doesn't really like you. And she doesn't really respect you, because no woman truly respects a man that just gives them money whenever they want. Like, I've never seen that.
What was crazy what was crazy, let me add to that. What was crazy, after he's giving her all this money, he called me up one out of the blue and says, I miss you so much.
I never even heard your story, and I knew that she didn't respect him.
And she wanted me to come and bang it out.
I never even heard your story, and I knew that what you said was the truth.
And I turned her down. I said no.
A guy, a man that I know, and then we can wrap up, but a man that I know said something that I'll never forget. He said, someone is always sleeping with her for free.
True. And you know,
you decide if you're going to be that guy or not.
Right. And there's something that's been going on in my mind for a while, and I said one day I'm going to ask someone with some knowledge that speaks with logic and common sense this question. So the question is, what's the relationship between money and woman?
Safety and provision.
Let me give you a different perspective. They're both being devalued
in real time.
In real time, the dollar is being debased, devalued, and the woman over time, she becomes devalued.
Unless she becomes more than her looks.
Unless she becomes more.
If a woman's that's why. Listen, I was dating this woman once. I mean, gorgeous girl. Like, I mean, you know what? Shout out to every woman I've ever dated. Each and every one of you have been absolutely gorgeous. I have no qualms or issues about your looks. Each and every one of you are still the type of woman that I would physically like at any point in time. That is the truth, right? But the reason why I'm not there anymore, Soshahi, is because beauty gets old to every man after a while.
True.
Man needs space, novelty, in order to remain excited about beauty alone.
We're kind of like spatial creatures.
We need that.
Yeah.
But the reality is that when a woman invests in her mind and she makes herself absolutely invaluable to the man that she's with, she will never lose his loyalty. No matter what woman he has ever slept with, she will always be at the top of his list of women that he values, and she will always be provided for and protected with a good man because she provides more than just her looks. Men of value, men with visions, men that are going somewhere in life. Yes, a lot of them like to have these toys around them, but those toys are like disposable socks.
Exactly.
Okay, got this sock on. I need to have a sock today, so I put that on, and then when I'm done, I throw it in the trash. That's how most men deal with women. The reason why I said I need a wife, right, is because like a wife is somebody who's actually going to provide real value to you in your life. Right? A wife is somebody who's going to provide real value to you in your life. A wife is somebody who's going to learn the things that you need and then provide it to you in some way, shape, or form. So let me give you an example. You and I may not need the same things, my brother. Like you might like your feet rubbed. I might like my shoulders rubbed, as an example. A good wife is going to know that you need your shoulders rubbed, or she's going to know that you need your feet rubbed, and she's going to rub your feet when she sees that you're irritated because she wants you to feel good. A good wife is going to give you the feminine energy that you need to relax and decompress from your day at the end of the day. I was just dating this. I dated this woman once, and she was like, you need to pay my bills. And I said, all right, cool, no problem. But I asked her, I said, since we've been dating, you want me to pay for you. You want me to, to dick you down good. You want me to cook for you. You want me to do everything for you. what am I paying? What is it that I'm doing? What am I paying for here? Like what am I gaining from this? Like all you're doing is taking my energy and my time. You're not adding anything of value. You like me, I like you. You think I'm attractive, I think you're attractive. We already had sex. We're done. Like if we're at a point now where the relationship is getting too expensive for what it is. I'm okay with the See, this is why I need a wife because God said, what did he say? No fornication.
Mm-hmm.
He actually despises that, and I respect that. The reality is that your wife needs to give you more than just sex. Like why would you want to be with somebody who's just taking your life energy like that and not giving you anything in return? You don't know what she's doing with that energy, man. I just told you that these women are doing glamour magic. When you really sit here and look at it, it's like, all right, cool. If you have your lips injected, your cheeks injected, your forehead with Botox in it, your eyebrows with Botox in it, you're wearing a weave, you have lipo, a BBL, right? Tit implants. Like you have all of these things going on. You don't think that when these women are going through all of these potentially these procedures that could kill them, that they're not doing this for a reason?
Of course, they're doing it for the attention, more so the attention of their friends.
No,
their
bro,
group,
no.
For our attention in the long run.
No, as somebody who has dated a lot of these women that look like this, unfortunately, I have to tell you that they're dating. Their attention that they want is financial attention. They are putting the money into themselves so that they can convince you on why you need to put the money into them as well. It's a mental shift.
Right.
If I'm willing to invest into my looks, you should be willing to pay for my looks.
Kind of like an oil salesman.
Right.
Yeah. I just wrote this down for wife, right? To kind of like break down what wife means. A wife is a woman that's willing, invested, feminine, and elevating.
I like that. Wife.
Wife.
Repeat that again.
A woman that's willing, invested, feminine, and elevating.
A wife is a woman
that's willing,
invested, feminine, and elevating. I like that. And that
just came to me while we were talking.
A woman that's willing, invested, feminine, and elevating. That is a wife.
That's a wife.
I like that.
Because when she's willing, she's on your page. When she's invested, she's making sure that everything is good with you and her. When she's feminine, it makes you more attracted to her. And then she elevates you. And once you're elevated, you give her whatever she wants without her asking.
Ladies, you'll never need to ask for a man for anything if you're providing that level of love to the right man.
Oh.
You being willing, invested, feminine, and elevating to the right man, you think you're going to have to ask him for anything? He wants to keep you.
Let me tell you, when I'm around a woman that asks me for stuff, even my mother, like that entitlement where...
It's a turn off.
Yeah, even my mother. But if my mother don't ask me, I will just want to give it to her. But if she makes me feel like I have to give it to her...
Not happening.
It's not happening. I feel kind of weird.
I just experienced something like that recently. Literally.
With your mom?
No, with another woman. I offered something out of the goodness of my heart, and then she started making it. Oh, when you? What?
Yeah.
Like, listen. Now I don't want to do it.
Exactly.
And you acting like I'm not being a man of my word. No, I'm being smart with my money. Like You're not gonna sit here and start demanding the thing that matter of fact, when I said that I can do it, when I said that I was interested in doing it, you should have turned on the ultra feminine gear. And you should be doing everything in your power to make me feel comfortable, releasing my hard-earned energy on you, because that's what it is. So I'm sitting here, energy into something that I built. I'm earning something from it, and then I'm releasing that onto you, and all you want to do is ask and demand. Are you kidding me? Listen, and this is the last thing I'll say, man. I told somebody this the other day. I said, listen, there's no shortage of women that want to take your money.
Oh,
so if you if you think that you're valuable just because you look good and he has to pay, especially if you've already given him especially if that's all you bring into the table, that's all you showcase that you're bringing to the table. Shorty, let me explain something to you. If he already has it, he's not going to keep it for that long. And all of you have already experienced that. They're not keeping it if they have it, especially not the man that you want. Because the man that you want is somebody of value, especially these type of women. These type of women only want the best of the best.
Right.
So you want the best of the best, the top tier man. That man has top tier options outside of you. You can't, if you're not coming with that level of energy that you just described, willing, invested, feminine, elevating, if you're not one of those type of individuals, you won't be able to keep a man. And that's why I said a woman's value does depreciate like a dollar when they don't invest into themselves, into becoming more willing, into becoming more invested, into becoming more feminine, into becoming more elevated. If they don't invest in themselves in that way and they can't provide that type of energy to their man in the way that he needs it, there's no way that their beauty is going to remain high level to that man, right? And my thing is this is the same thing like your money, right? If you just put the money in your bank account and you just keep it there, yeah, it looks good, but it's depreciating every year. And in 20 years, you have half of what you had 20 years ago, and that's if it was sitting there being saved. And that's because deflation is depreciating your dollar. Exactly. On the contrary, if you invest the money the right way, your money is going to outpace inflation and you'll be able to be wealthy with it. It's the same thing like your woman. Your woman should be able to increase you in a multitude of different areas. Mm-hmm. I didn't say your woman should be able to increase you financially. I say your woman should be able to increase you energetically, spiritually, emotionally. She should be able to make you a better man than where you were when you started. If she's not coming with that kind of energy, then she is a taker and she needs to be disposed of, especially if you already got everything for free. You should not be spending additional money on some. As a matter of fact, let me explain something to you. Realistically, we should just go back to the point where women are not sleeping with men unless they're men that they want to marry. That way, if we go back to doing that, then that way we can start to balance out and equalize what's happening in the marketplace. Because the problem is every time a woman sleeps with a guy, she takes a piece of him with her, and he takes a piece of her with him. And ultimately, what's happening is you women are thinking that men are only good for money because you keep choosing men only for money, and these men ain't shit, and they weren't the men that you wanted in the first place. You left a man for $1, and you're mad you're mad at men for the decisions that you have made. Ultimately, if you stop making those decisions and you wait for a man that's for you, and it's not based on what he's doing for you, because you're not going to be able to squeeze a man who's intelligent financially. Mm-hmm. So in order for you to be able to squeeze a man financially, you're either going to be working with an old guy that you don't want, mm-hmm. or you're going to be dealing with a man who's retarded that you're going to not like, because you're going to realize that he's not disciplined, he has no rules, he has no boundaries. You're going to step on him, which means you're going to learn disrespectful traits that are going to make you unattractive to a man of value. That's what happens when you sit here and entertain men that are low vibrational because they're paying your bills. Change your bills, shack up with one of your friends if you can't afford to live where you're at, or move to an area where you can afford, and start dating with intention. Stop dating for money. That is over with. And as a matter of fact, and I'll leave it at this, I've seen it. I'm telling you this before you realize that it's over. Because if you don't realize that it's over now, what do you think's going to happen when the recession comes and none of the men that you like you, because you already shitted on all of the relationships that you had with the good men that you had in your life? Nobody's coming to save you when this massive recession comes, because you didn't align yourself with powerful individuals that you respected and that respect you. You didn't put the time in to water to cultivate and be a willing, invested, feminine, elevating woman. You didn't spend the time to do that with a good man. Instead, you let that good man go because you were chasing something that's not going to be there, because you are a liability to a man with money. And once this economic depression comes, he will leave, because he will want to keep the little bit of money that he has left. And that's if you don't destroy all of his money before he leaves. I remember I was talking to this woman once, and I used to talk to her, gorgeous woman, used to talk to her. Then she was dating somebody. Then he realized, then she texted me 2 years later out of nowhere, similar situation as you. Mm-hmm. She's with this guy, and when I said, "Oh, you still with this guy? You know, things are rough now." "What do you mean?" "Oh, you know, he lost all his money, this, that, and the third." So I said, "So let me get this straight. You want me?" Let me get this straight. That's what I asked her straight up. So I had to ask her this. I said, "So let me get this straight. You were with a man for 2 years that invested his money into you. You've already showcased that you're incapable of helping him increase his wealth, but you are very capable at helping him spend his money." Mm-hmm. So he's lost all his money being with you. And now even though you chose this man, you won't even stick with him at the end. You trying to jump onto another man like me, and you want me to go down the same road he just went down. Is that what you expect? "Oh, don't talk to me like that." But this is our first conversation back in all this time. The "don't talk to me like that" started again. I said, "Respectfully, we'll talk." Like, once you start breaking down these women intellectually, it's like you start realizing that their games don't make sense. I had another woman, not to cut you over now, I'll let you talk. I had another woman who told me, like I said to you, I said, "You want me to pay for you, cook for you, massage you, fuck you, like you want me to do everything. What are you doing aside from being here, enjoying your life? Every time you're with me, everything's for free for you." Mm-hmm. Like, everything's for free. I'm doing everything that I want to do. Yes, I'm doing everything I want to do as well. It's not like you're forcing me to do. But now we're getting into the point where you're trying to force me to do stuff that I don't really want to do. So now I have to look and I say, "Well, you haven't really earned this yet. Why didn't I earn it for you yet? I'm sleeping with you." "Well, you're only sleeping with me when you're with me. Just like I'm only paying for you when you're with me." Mm-hmm. Right? If you're going to increase me when I'm not with you, right? If you're going to add value to my life when we're not together, then I'll pay for you when we're not together, because that's equal. But if we're together and the only thing that's happening is us exchanging sexual energy between each other, mm-hmm. and I'm paying the entire time for that to happen, we've already exchanged, in my opinion, the value.
Lease, rent, buy.
Lease, rent, buy.
Let me explain, and then I'm going to say what I was going to say. When a person rents a car, they treat it like crap.
Yep.
When they lease it and they know they have to take it back for inspection, they're more careful with it, right? When they buy it, they cherish it.
Correct.
Right? That's how we can determine the woman that we're going to lease, the woman that we're going to rent, and the woman that we're going to buy.
Oh, you're saying that this happens naturally.
This happened naturally.
I like that.
Yeah. So you said, and I've thought about this. Dating. I really don't think we should be dating. I think a woman and man, a man courts a woman. When you court a person, there is no sex. You get to meet the family, you can meet the friends, you go out, you hang out, you get to know each other, right? But like what God said to Adam before he told Eve that God said to Adam, get to know a woman before you know a woman. Get to know a woman who she is thoroughly before you get intimate with her.
It's smart. It's
right?
Very smart.
So that's what courting is, getting to know the person before any intimacy comes involved. Dating now ushers intimacy in from day one. That's the intention. When you hear a man and a woman exchanging words, having a banter, right? And she say, "Oh, he's kind of boring." No, he's not boring. She's not getting any butterflies in her stomach, no sexual attraction, because what's on her mind, she's comparing what he's going to be like in bed to the prior guy that she was with before. So when she says, "Oh, I'm not getting any butterflies in my belly, I'm not feeling any attraction," she means I'm not feeling any sexual attraction, because that's her first thought. It's about sex. And us as men too, because we are instinctual in terms of when we see a woman, because of our animal instinct, our natural want is to procreate. That's our drive. A woman wants security, but they want security, not just the financial security. They want the sexual. They want a man. I said this in a podcast I did several months, and then I get to my next point. I asked a woman, I said, "Are you a Christian?" And she said, "Yes, I am." I said, "How tall you like your guys?" She said, "At least 6 foot, because I'm 5'6", but I want my guy to be 6 foot or more." I said, "Okay, really?" And said, "How much you want him to make?" Right? She said, "Well, at least I wanted to make a good amount of money." I said, "Like make six figures?" She said, "Yeah, that would be great. That would be nice." I said, "And how long you want his piece to be?" She said, "I don't want anything short." I said, "What, over 6 inches?" She said, "Yes." She said, "That would be better." I said, "Right. So what
I
would
think
you?"
the average man in the world has less than 6 inches on his wood, like
Yeah.
55, 5 or 5
Right.
inches. I think
So
is
if
the
you
average globally.
if you're over 6 inches, you're speaking language. So I turned to her and I said, "So you want a guy that's over 6 foot, six figures, and over 6 inches. So isn't that 666?" I said, "So you don't believe in God, you believe in the devil, because those are all the things that the devil perpetuate to women."
Look, so sorry trying to sit here and call me the devil, man. Listen,
No, 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 say no.
Hey,
No, 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 no. Listen. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about how many women think. If you listen to
no,
them,
it's all physic. It's all based on
physicality.
physicality
Yes.
and third dimensional, and that's really the challenge of it all, is that you guys have to go deeper than the surface. I believe in courting, man. I'm glad you just said that, bro, because ultimately, after further review, I was just thinking, man. I was like, you know what? It'd be just better to it'll be better to just have a wife, man. Because
Yeah.
to run around and date these people, I mean, bro, it's pretty disgusting now. Like it's actually getting disgusting to a point where it's like sometimes I watch these reels online and I'm just literally my face is just like, ugh, like you
Yeah.
like you were. First of all, it's gotten so bad. Hey, I hate to say this. I don't want to put everybody in a bag. Probably half this stuff will. It's gotten so bad, bro, that when I see a woman that has their body done, I already in my mind I'm like, red flag. Like I'm like, I might enjoy your company because I think you look good, and that's the part that God's helped me with right now. Because but this last person that I was telling you about that I asked that question to, she was a straight up 10, like period. And I had to ask her, I'm like, I'm doing all of this for you. Like, why do you think I should do more to keep you? It's clear to, like, if you want me to do more to keep you, then why don't you do something to show me that you want me to keep you? Why don't you do something to show me that you want to be with me exclusively?
Because they don't think their value depreciates. Their value everything.
I think they do I think they do know their value depreciates, and I think the older that they get, they're trying to rush you to the finish line. You have to look at these women and their habits, bro. Like, okay, cool. Like, you have to look at me, bro. I take my shirt off, my body is ripped, bro.
So you think it's cognitive dissonance?
Bro, they know, bro. I'm trying to explain something to you. I take off my shirt, my body is ripped, bro. Like, You know what I'm saying? You come out with me, you're not paying for anything, you're not doing anything, you're not like, what are you really doing? I had this woman, the same woman I'm telling you about, when she was with me, she said, she was with me for 10 days. She said, I feel like I'm a baby when I'm with you. I said, perfect. That's exactly what I need. I just need you to lay there, be feminine, give me great energy, and just be a baby. That what that means on the other side means that she felt like she had to worry about zero when she was with me. Now I want you to take it a step further. I work out daily. So now when I look at a woman now, it's interesting because I work out daily. So I know that you're super attracted to me when I take my clothes off, right? So now I might be super attracted to you when you take your clothes off, but I'm also very aware of the time horizon too. I'm like, all right, cool. You're 28, 27, 26 years old, right? You don't work out. And then I'm looking at what you eat as well. You're 28, 27 years old. You don't work out. So now I'm looking at what you eat. You drink soda. You drink alcohol. You eat burgers and pizza. So in my mind, I say, all right, cool. You look good now, but where is this going to be in 7 years, 10 years? Then I start looking at what do women look like when they eat pizza, burgers, and drink alcohol from the ages of 28 to 35 regularly. What do they look like at the end of 35? And you get the answer to your question.
Yeah.
When I look at this metric, the way that I look at it, I said, why would I sit here and invest my time, energy, and money into a woman that has bad habits that I know in the next 7 years at the very least I'm not going to be attracted to her anymore because I'm going to keep going to the gym and you're going to not go and you're going to keep doing the habits that you're doing. And the reason why I know that is because I'm already showcasing to you that I go to the gym every day. You already know what time it is. You should be looking at me and be like, all right, cool. I want to give up everything that I'm doing right now because I need to keep up with you, because I need to continue to be attractive to you. I think women have a duty and men have a duty. I think we both have a duty to continue to be attractive. I tell men all the time, like men are always like, oh, well, will she be there for you? She said that men ask all the time, will she be there for you when times are hard? I was like, well, do you even have the luxury of times being hard when you're with your woman? You don't. Like, if times are hard for you, it shouldn't be hard for her. If it's hard for her and they're hard for you, that means you're living above your means. If they're hard for me and my woman shouldn't know the difference. Right? She shouldn't know the difference. So therefore, she shouldn't even feel the difference because I managed everything correctly to such a degree that she never knows if I'm down, if I'm up, because everything that she's involved with is handled already. The places we go, I've picked them strategically because they fall within my budget. The things that we drink, the way that we live, everything we do falls within my budget. So if you're happy with that, then we continue to rock out. And whether or not I'm low or high, it doesn't matter. Like, this is the lifestyle that you're used to. This is what you'll always have.
If you notice something, most of the very wealthy, because good health and money, wealthy versus rich, we were talking about, it's money and health, right? Wealth, this wealthy. Well, when you have money and health is wealthy, right? So the most prominent families in the world, you have to wonder, why is it that the man always have a wife? The billionaires, the multi-uber millionaires, why is it that they always have a wife? Because that shows stability. And one thing I learned, and I, as a man that's never been married before, every time I try to meet someone to get married, it's usually a religion issue, right? Because I'm not a religious person. I'm not into any belief system. I just try to be good.
You are, but you told me your story, so you got burned in the past.
Right.
But my thing is, what you need to understand is you being burned in the past has nothing to do with God. Like, I tell people this all the time. I was just talking to somebody about this, then I want you to continue going forward. But I was just talking to somebody about this when I was in when I was away,
Right.
I was talking to this guy and he had the same, oh, I used to be religious and now I don't, and I don't believe in this and that. I'm like, bro, who hurt you, dog? What happened? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and he said, oh, my son died as a result of religion and all kind of stuff. So essentially what you're telling me is you allowed a human being, because something happened, that because another human being did something to another human being, you've decided that you're blaming God for that.
I did not blame any.
No, I'm saying that's what he's dealing with, right? So my thing is, and then
Oh, you're talking about him.
Him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, with you though, it's not that you're blaming God for that, but you're taking out your frustration against this individual that did something that you didn't like. You're
No.
taking out your frustration on this. Yes, you are. You're taking out this frustration because this person did not follow the same rules that he was telling you that you need to follow. So you thought he was fugazi. So because of that, you're telling me okay, so everybody that's following Creflo Dollar, everybody that's following, what's the guy's name who was with Diddy? The black guy, the heavyset guy?
With Diddy?
Yeah, the preacher.
Oh, are you talking about Biggie?
No, the preacher, the heavy.
T.D. Jakes?
T.D. Jakes,
Yeah.
Joel Osteen,
Yeah.
all of these individuals, these prosperity preachers that are now getting, roped up in this thing right now.
Scandal,
You're
right.
telling me that everybody that follow them now should not follow God because there's a couple bad seeds.
No, I'm not telling you that. My story is a bit. My story.
You told me your story in detail. We have it on
Right.
video already.
Right. So what I'm saying is, I want to talk about that another time. But so what was my point? I was saying before you.
Hey, you know what? Ain't no point greater than that point. But your point was we were talking about the women, and we were talking about a wife.
Oh yeah,
you were talking about every time you look for a wife, you haven't been married yet.
Okay, yeah. So,
guys, you see how the mind works? The mind is a computer. I just open up multiple folders in my mind. You see how the mind works? The mind is a computer. I just opened up multiple folders in my mind to find the answer to Sosai's question.
hey, respect.
Are you guys? Hey, have you guys? How much thinking have you guys done today? Like, how much thinking have you done?
Right.
You want to be with a man of value. You want to be with a woman of value, and you haven't even thought today.
Yeah, the marriage thing for me is just difficult, in a sense.
You say you were never married. How do you know?
Being married. Let me rephrase that. Reframe that. Trying to find the wife. Trying to find a wife is difficult because every time I meet someone, she spout religion, she spout her active devotion, and I'm like, can't you just respect me for being a good person? You and I can discuss.
So shy.
Yeah. Wait. Don't interrupt, man.
I'm about to blow your whole mind real quick,
right.
man.
You and I can discuss about your belief, but I don't want to be a part of any religion anymore. I just feel more comfortable, right? But to my point, one of the things that turn me off when I go out and I walk around, I am so turned off now because the woman that spout that they are traditional women, they look, dress, and operate just like what I call the streetwalkers. Because when I was growing up, and younger and driving down on the strip like Biscayne Boulevard, right? And I see the streetwalkers and how they dress. Almost every woman I see now dress the same way. They dress in this skimpy, scantily clad kind of clothing and say that they're traditional women and they're looking for a traditional man, and they're very judgmental in what they're expecting. They want a man to have tattoos and dreads and this and that. I'm like, wait a second here. It usually makes me laugh when I ask religious people about their bodies being the temple. I said, so you're a Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, Buddhist, whatever. Why do you have tattoos on your body? Don't you believe systems say your body's a temple? You shouldn't put anything on it. Don't scar your body. Okay, you may be young and you may put a tattoo on your body, one or two. But okay, when you get older, why do you keep putting more tattoos on your body? Right? I don't really fault people for wanting to have tattoos on their body, but if they say they believe in something, follow suit to what you believe in. You can't say that you believe in it and you're doing some of the things and and not doing some of the things and then say that you are of this certain belief system. All right, so for me, it's just very difficult to find someone that I can just be with that won't judge me or don't want to be with me just because I'm not a part of the religious
So
system.
your issue, Shosha, is that you haven't realized that we live in a spiritual world having a physical existence. And because you don't want to acknowledge God's presence, you'll never realize that until you do realize that. And once you do realize that, then you'll realize that maybe it's God who's talking to you. See, there's more than
I think you're
six
wrong.
billion people in the United. There's more than 6 billion people in the world. Almost 8 billion people in the world. How is it that you keep meeting this same type of individual that's trying to, like, what would be the odds of you meeting the same type of individual over and over again that's trying to push their religion on you and trying to get you to go closer to God? Who do you think that is? You think that's you? You think you're out there finding these people, or you think these people are finding you? Like, my thing is, once you start to realize that you attract what you listen, once you start to realize what's really going on, then you can start to look at that situation a little different than the way you're looking at it now. But I think you need to change the way you're looking at that, my brother, and realize that somebody's trying to talk to you, somebody's trying to get your attention. And now, whether you want to give them your attention or not, that's fine. But maybe you won't leave. Maybe you won't have a wife if you don't ask why you keep meeting these people. You asking me, I just told you the answer. You got to ask God. He has the answer. But until you believe that he exists, then how you going to ask him for the answer? Which means that you won't get the answer, which means that you might not get married. I had somebody come to me the other day and he said that, he told me that you should only date a woman who's younger and all of these different things. And he had all of these stipulations on how a relationship should be. And then he met a woman that defied every single thing that he told me. And he's actually in a relationship with somebody who's his own age, who defies every single thing that he said that he wanted. And that's who God has him with a relationship with right now.
All right, I'm going to jump in. All right. So here's my thought on what you said. You said that I won't acknowledge God and that we live in a spiritual world. I acknowledge that there's a creator or creators, as I like to say. I acknowledge that we live in a spiritual world.
Why do you acknowledge that there's creators and not a creator? Like, I don't understand that. Why do you acknowledge more than one, but you refuse to acknowledge one?
Because nothing is one. Nothing is one.
How? What is there one Earth?
No.
There's one Earth in this atmosphere, in this galaxy, correct?
Yes, that we know that we can live on. That
So
we know.
if we don't know about it, it doesn't exist yet, right?
That's not true.
If we don't know, so shy. So everything that we don't know is possibly there. So therefore, nothing's truth.
The question is that if we don't know, that means it doesn't exist.
Yes, if we don't know that it exists, then it doesn't exist.
No, that's not true.
Okay, so if we don't know that it doesn't exist, then there's a possibility that it exists.
Yes.
Okay, so then what if it doesn't exist?
You're asking a question that is kind of illogical.
No, it's very logical.
How?
If a tree fell in the forest and it doesn't make a sound, did the tree fall in the forest?
Yes.
How do you know?
If you're able to go there.
How do you know a tree fell in the forest if it didn't make a sound and you didn't go there?
Give me a second here. You have a good point. I can't renege on not answering your question. If a tree falls in the forest and we didn't hear the sound, how do we know that it falls? Obviously, we don't know that it falls.
So
Right.
therefore, what's your conclusion?
The other people that may be around, or other entities that may be around that know it falls, will be able to give an account for it if we ever meet those people.
So shy.
Yeah.
Did the tree fall? Yes or no?
I wouldn't know because I didn't hear the sound.
So then, if you don't know, then what's at the end of I don't know? No. The reality is, if you can't measure that it happened, then it didn't happen. Until you measure that it happened, then it didn't happen. That's the reality of it.
Okay.
If you start to think of life black and white like that, then it'll be easier for you to maneuver. It's not that it's not that there's not a possibility that the tree didn't fall. Just like there's a possibility that just because she was asking you for money, she's not a gold digger. Right? But the reality is that if it looks like a gold digger and it feels like a gold digger and it smells like a gold digger, then it'll be safer for you to assume that it's a gold digger than to play the gray area and go through this possibility phase that can last you for a long time, a lot of heartache, a lot of money loss. Right? No, you're not going to advise your son who's with some woman who clearly looks like a gold digger. You're not going, and who clearly looks like she doesn't care about anything that's going on with your son except for his money. You're not going to advise him, well, son, possibly she's not a gold digger. So you might as well just keep moving forward with that as long as you can. You know what I'm saying? And then once you truly find out that that's what she is, right? Either you end up in prison for doing something crazy, or to her, or you end up losing your money. She ends up sleeping with somebody else, and you end up unless that happens, son, you don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. I mean, even though I've experienced all these things in the past, I will tell you none of that matters because she might be different. No man, no real father would ever tell their son that. And I would assume that you wouldn't either. Am I wrong or am I right?
You're right.
Okay, so then you like to come to definitive conclusions. So definitively, unless proven otherwise, there is only one Earth in this galaxy, unless proven otherwise. Then we can have a conversation about two Earths. But right now, there's only one, right?
That humans live on.
That there's only one Earth in this galaxy that we know of, period. Humans live on or not humans live on.
There's only one Earth that we know in this galaxy.
In this galaxy, period. So then there is such thing as one. And then also, that's number one. And number two, who said God was just one? God has always been three. I was thinking about this the other day. I said, how could God be the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? And you know what I came to the conclusion?
Tell me.
We're all the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We're all three. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What I mean by that is that we all came from God. So we have his DNA. He says that in this book.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a consciousness, which is the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And we all are God's son.
Mm-hmm.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We are all three operating at one time. People just don't want to. And that's when you go from 3D to 5D. You start to read, and the difference between 3D and 5D is 3D is taste, touch, hear, smell, see. 5D is when you start to introduce what people call the spirituality, or, you have different feelings like intuition, or you think about somebody and they call you. That's called telepathy. Even though these are the carnal words for these sayings, the reality is that all of this stuff just represents the all-knowing Holy Spirit that is interconnected between all humans. They've tried to label it as these isolated senses and things, but the reality is that we have 5 senses, and then we have the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is completely connected to all things around you, which allows you to have intuition, which allows you to have telepathy, which allows you to have, foresight. These are all things that don't happen within the physical realm, but they still are things that we have to acknowledge and exist. The coup of it all is that society has convinced the average human being that this stuff is not God and it's God's, and it's not him, it's you. And he's not the one that gave you the idea. You gave you the idea. And isn't that the same thing that Satan did? And isn't that the same reason why Satan is not with God now? Because he felt like he was on the same level as God, and he was a God, and he could be worship and praise like God is. This whole thing that I'm trying to explain to you on even the philosophy that you've just presented is the philosophy of the demonic, and it's in the Bible that this is exactly how Satan thinks. So you really only think in two ways. You either think that there is a God or you are a God. And if you think that there is a God, then you believe in the Holy Bible, or you believe in God's word, right? Or you believe that you are God, and which means that you are following the book of Satan. That is it. It's very black and white in that way. There is no other way. And for people that say they don't believe in God altogether, if you don't believe in God, right? Because you've coined yourself as an atheist, so you represent that group.
No. I've never coined myself.
So you believe that there is a God.
Of course, I believe that there's a creator.
But you just
creators.
So you believe that there's many God, but God says in the Bible that is an abomination.
All right, give me a moment. I have a different perspective. All right,
you get where I'm going with this. What I'm basically saying, and then I'll let you talk. What I'm basically saying is that what you're saying is the exact things that God talks about in the Bible that are abominations, like worshiping multiple creators. Thou shalt worship no other God before me. Like, I need people to understand that the things that they believe are actually in the Bible, and they're actually demonic things that are already addressed. Like, if you believe that you're a God, then that is demonic. If you believe that there are other gods, then that is demonic. It's already addressed here. You are not the first person to think that way, and you are not the last person that will think that way. This is exactly what Satan is trying to help everybody do, to help everybody think, so you can be disconnected from God. That is the whole point of this.
All right. So here's my perspective, right? I have a different perspective on the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I recently had a conversation with a young woman, right? Kind of like in our age group, right? And I said to her, when I hear the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and I look at nature as how nature is and how nature have existed, and my understanding and knowledge of nature is that you can't have a son without a woman. You can't have a son without a man. You can't have a daughter without a woman. You can't have a daughter without a man. Right? Now, no. Let me finish my thought. Don't interject. Go
ahead.
All right. So my thing is they relegated the woman to a Holy Ghost. The Father, the woman, and the child. The man, the woman, the child. Right? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, to me, makes no logical sense. And you're going to say that, who am I to be?
No, I'm going to say it doesn't make logical sense.
So you're saying that the man, the Son, and no woman, and the Holy Ghost is what exists. And where is the woman in the equation?
Why does there have to be a woman in the equation?
Because there's always a feminine energy in every equation.
Why does the creator of all things have to abide by rules that he gave us?
Because so is the creator. Let us hold on.
So you think God is not perfect?
Let me finish my thought. The Bible says, let us create man. Let us create man in our image. Man meaning a woman is simply a man with a biological womb. Let us create man in our image. And when we create them, we set them out to procreate and be plentiful. So you need the father, the mother, and the child. When religion was being put together, they didn't want woman's input. It was only men, and some of those men were a bit kind of on the sketchy side. So they relegated the woman to a Holy Spirit.
When you say some of those men were on the sketchy side, who exactly are you talking about?
Well,
and where did they get these books from?
Which books are you talking about?
The holy books. Where did they get them from?
There are compilations of different.
Where did the holy books come from?
Compilations from different books.
Where did the holy book come from? The very first one. Where did it come from?
How about you tell me, since you're trying to
you don't know the answer?
No, I don't know that. I'm gonna say I don't know the answer where the holy books come from, based on from what my understanding is that the Bible simply means a collage of stories, a collage of books. That's what Bible means, right? So it's a collage of stories and books that come together, and the Bible that we have, the 66 books, is not the full Bible. The Bible, the original Bible, have over 300 books in it, right? And they simplify it, or they take out the parts that they didn't want the common people to know about. So they removed those books from the Bible and gave us 66. And over time, there have been different renditions on the books, because I told you I've read 3 different versions of the Bible. Old Testament, the version that came after the Old Testament, and then the New Testament, right? And I realized that what I saw in the New Testament to the one that came after the King James Version, one that came before the King James Version, and then the Old Testament, they contradict themselves.
Well, it says that the Old Testament is before Jesus came. So the rules of the Old Testament don't follow the rules of the New Testament. It says that. So it acknowledges what you just said as a fact. It is different from the Old Testament. Is different from the first. It is different from the Old Testament, which goes back to what I was saying earlier. That how do we know that that humanity hasn't restarted multiple times? How do we know that?
That was a very insightful point you made, actually. Right? That had me thinking that there's such thing as reincarnation. I believe in reincarnation, that we have just been recycled, the same energy. The energy never dies, it only transforms, and we just come back in a new body, a new shell, right? And that new shell will have very similar features, commonalities, that if that particular individual came back, we're saying, oh, you're just like your mother. Oh, you're just like your father. Like, how? Oh, you're just like your uncle. Or you're just like your grandmother. How? You said this thing a certain way. You do this thing a certain way, and only your uncle did that, right? When your uncle was here. So, to your point, I do think that we are going through a cycle of creation. But going back to the point of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, in every species that lives on this earth, there's a male, a female, and an offspring. So
but it wasn't always like that, though, my brother.
So are you saying that?
There was a point in time where literally this is in the Bible, what you're talking about. You said you read it from cover to cover. My thing is that in the Bible, Adam was created first. Adam was created from the sand, from the soil.
Adam wasn't the first human being.
My brother, are we going to talk about the Bible, or are we talking about other works? Because if we want to go into other works, we could go deep into that as well if you want. I don't know the validity of those works. I don't know. All I'm saying is that in the Bible, Adam was the first human being that was created. Correct or no correct?
The first perfect human being that was created.
In the Bible, Adam was the first human being that was created. Is that a fact or not a fact?
If you're going to just be talking about the Bible.
It's a fact, right?
Based on the Bible.
Okay. So, where was the woman in that?
There was no woman in that.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's go a little bit farther now. Let's go down on this field. Let's run a lap on this field. You're talking biblically.
I'm talking biblically, correct.
And I'm not talking just biblically. I'm talking holistically.
So you want to mix carnal information with God's word and then come up with your own conclusion. In other words,
how is it carnal?
These other books that you're discussing that say that there were other humans before Adam, are those official religious works?
It's in the Bible, my friend. When Cain killed Abel and he's going to leave the garden, right? And he said, if I leave and I go, they're going to kill me. And the question was, why would they kill you? Because they know that I killed my brother. So when he left and go forth in the land, right? The land of Canaan, right? I believe that's what they called it. I could be wrong.
Canaan was the promised land in the Bible.
Okay. When Cain killed Abel, where did Cain go?
He went into the world.
So when he went into the world, he met a woman that he had children with. A whole lot of children with. Yes or no?
Yes.
So that tells you right there that Adam was not the first man.
Why?
Because when Cain killed Abel and he wanted to leave because he was fearful that they would kill him when he leave and go to the other lands. So right there, that tells you that Adam was, according to the Bible, the first man, but he was the first perfect man according to the Bible. But there were other people out there. That's why Cain, which came from Adam and Eve, was able to go out there and meet a woman and have children with that said woman.
Uh-huh. So you're talking about the alleged quote unquote Neanderthals.
I don't think they were called Neanderthal.
There's 4 versions of the human.
Mm-hmm.
Neanderthal,
Mm-hmm.
Homo erectus.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other one? Homo sapien.
Homo sapien. And
that's
Homo
the last one. And what's the
The fourth one is Homo sapien sapien.
Okay. So these are all evolutions of the human, according to what you're saying. So so what you're saying is that those people that you're describing are not actual humans. They're not Homo sapien humans.
They're Homo sapiens.
The person that Canaan went and met outside of the garden is a Homo sapien. How do you know that?
Okay. All right. Let me.
Don't we know that white folks came from? I mean, allegedly, right? That white folks appeared 6,000 years ago, and they were in the Caucasus Mountains, which is why they call them Caucasians, but they were actually Neanderthals in the Caucasus Mountains.
That's according to genealogy.
So my thing is that how do you know that Canaan didn't meet one of these people? And how do you know that the reason why they knew that Canaan wasn't? How do you know that the reason why they knew that Canaan killed that Canaan killed Abel, is because they removed his melanin from his body and banished him from the Garden of Eden? How do you know that didn't happen? And how do you know when he went out of the Garden of Eden, this is the only way people recognized him, that he was different, was because he had a different skin complexion, and this is how white people came about? How do you know that didn't happen? See, that's the actual story that you're
Hold on, you're asking me
the actual story that you're
asking me multiple questions.
But no, I'm just asking you a succession of questions that go with the same topic, because that's the actual story that you're trying to say is happened, because that is the other story of it.
All right, give me a chance to answer.
Go ahead.
All right. Based on what I said, that there are other people, and if you want to say that they're Homo sapiens, let's go with that they're Homo sapiens, because we're Homo sapiens sapiens, right? All right. So when he left and go to the other people, I'm going to bring it back to the question that you asked me. If you're not in a forest and a tree falls Did the tree fall?
No.
Okay. So you're asking me, how do I know? I don't know because I
don't know.
wasn't there. The tree fell and I wasn't there, so I don't know if it really fell.
But what I'm asking you is, even the information that you're getting, where are you? Like, I'm not speaking in terms of probability. I'm just asking you, where exactly are you getting this information from?
You are asking me based on probability because you say, how do I know?
No, I'm asking about the probability that you brought up. Right? So the reason why I'm asking you how do you know is because I'm asking you, where did you deduce this probability from, is what I'm asking.
About the human types?
No, that he met another, that there was a human before Adam that he met outside of the Garden of Eden. Like, where are you getting that information from, that it was in fact a human?
It's in the Bible.
That it was a human?
The only way you would be able to have children, it had to be a human being.
Why?
Because we can't produce with a non-human being.
So do you think a Homo sapien is the same as a Homo erectus? And if you don't think they're the same, do you think that there's a possibility that the Homo erectus has the same exact ovaries that a Homo sapien has, and therefore he could actually have children with something that was not the same as him?
All right, I'm going to answer your question. Just give me a minute. Logically speaking, if you bed with a Caucasian woman, you will have a child, right?
Correct.
And according to genealogy, they are different type of species.
Correct.
Within the human race.
Yes.
Or within the human species. They're a different subset, right? And just like the Mongoloids, which are the Asians, like the Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, right? They're a different subset species within the human species. But
correct.
But we all can have children together when we lay with them. Right. Okay. So that would go to the point of, if when it was the first one was called a what? The first human type was called a what?
Homo erectus.
Homo erectus. And over time, when a Homo erectus became a Homo, what's the other one? Homo erectus. Homo, what's the other one?
Oh, I mentioned it earlier too.
Yeah, it slipped my mind too. Human type. Let me see. So we have the Homo sapien. What's the? Come on. Oh, different type in evolution. Let me look for that. So, wow.
Allegedly, there's more.
Yeah, I see that.
That's this. Listen, this is the reason why I'm gonna be honest with you.
We could go down the rabbit hole.
The reason why I don't get into this,
yeah,
honestly, is because it's just so, like, the rabbit hole goes so deep. This is why I just, like, when I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, so if we believe in evolution, let's go from Homo erectus, Homo sapien, and Homo sapien sapien, right? Homo erectus mean, like, essentially apes that started walking a bit upright, right?
Right.
Homo erectus, they're erect. And then Homo sapiens is the next evolution before we became Homo sapiens sapiens. Okay.
Right.
So let's say Adam was the perfect human. He's a Homo sapiens sapien because he's fully evolved into where the creators wanted this final rendition, this species to be. So when he left, even if he left the garden after killing Abel and go out, he could still have children with a Homo erectus or Homo sapien. He could still, because the womb of the woman would still remain to be the same. Their body evolved over time, but their reproductive system had to remain the same over time to be able to carry a child. Right? Remember, we're one chromosome off from being an ape.
Correct.
Right? One. That means if some anomaly happened and that chromosome is switched, reverts back, we are going to start regressing back to that type.
We will never regress back to anything.
I'm just.
We can only move. Humanity only moves forward. It doesn't move backwards.
That is true. That is true. All right. Yeah, it's true. I could say this. The original question is, how do I know? And it's in the Bible. I've read it in the Bible where Cain left and he went and he had offspring with a woman, a wife. It doesn't matter if she's a Homo erectus or a Homo sapien. He still had children, right? Adam was the final rendition of what was going on with evolution, if you believe in evolution. The Bible says that Adam was the first man, was the first perfect man, is what that is. So when I talk about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, that came about, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost came about because of religion, right? Not because of actual creation in terms of the birth of a living, breathing.
That's what the Son is. The Son is the birth of a living, breathing organism.
So who is the Holy Ghost?
The consciousness that's within the living, breathing organism.
So where's the woman in the equation?
The known woman is needed. You're talking about God here. See, with the thing that people don't understand, they try to hold God to the same standards that they have. God made the rules. So we can't understand God or even comprehend God. You can't understand or comprehend anything that he's doing. You're only using 10% of your brain, and you're trying to comprehend something that requires you to think on a whole nother level than anything you've ever seen in your life. Do you know that humans are only able to think in terms of what they've seen? Do you know that? You know that human beings, including you and I, can only see as far as what we have seen. So there's absolutely no way that you can think of an animal that you haven't seen. You can't think of it. Even if you thought of the wildest combination of animals that could create this new animal, it will all be based on animals that you've seen before. True. It wouldn't be based on things you haven't seen.
True.
So my thing is that you can't fathom the creator because you only see based on what you've seen, and this is something you can't see. There's a possibility that he could be existing in multiple universes at one time. It could be a possibility that he is the universe. It could be a possibility that he's above the universe. It could be a possibility that he's sitting on the sun in the universe. It could be a possibility that the sun is him in the universe. It could be possible that the sun is God, Jesus Christ in the universe.
Pause right there. That point that you just made that there's a possibility that God is the sun, like the sun that's in the sky that we know.
But I gotta finish my point in order for you to understand. The point is that all of it comes from all of it is God. You're saying, how do I know that all of it is God? I'll tell you one simple point that lets you know that all of it is God.
Go ahead.
Protons, electrons, and neutrons. There is not one thing that you have described that is not made up of the same exact elements as the next thing that you described.
100%.
So therefore, because everything is built on protons, electrons, and neutrons, You're seeing it as different and separate. You're seeing it as the sun and the moon and the stars and black, white, and male and female.
No,
And you're seeing it as all of these different things, but
no, no,
you're seeing it as all of these different things, but scientifically speaking, they are all the same thing.
no. I don't see it that way.
So then everything is exactly the same.
I see everything as one.
Everything is one. One of what?
One of the whole.
And who's the whole?
Everything that exists.
Okay, but there's a beginning of the universe, right? According to science, there's a beginning, and that beginning keeps changing every 10 years. It changes. The beginning of the universe changes. You know why the beginning of the universe changes every 10 years?
The beginning doesn't change. The beginning is the beginning.
No. You
It
look it up. The beginning has changed once again. The beginning of the universe has changed once again. It's different than what they thought.
when you find it, text that to me so I can look into it, because I definitely want to know when you find it. You don't have to do it now, but that's something I definitely want to learn about. But I believe everything is one. Everything is one. We are living in a living organism. We are cells in an organism. Just like within our bodies, there are cells living in us. We are Earth to the organism that lives inside of our body.
My apologies. I want to say this, not to cut you off. I want to change. Not the beginning of the universe. They're still saying it's the Big Bang Theory, but how? But the actual beginning, like what transpired after the Big Bang Theory, is what continues to change, because as they become more knowledgeable of the universe, they realize that there's more to the universe than what they thought. So it's not that it keeps changing, it's that their perspective on what is actually going on keeps changing as their
I have the answer.
knowledge becomes more expansive.
I have a take on that. It's evolution. It's evolving. It's evolving.
No, that is true. It is evolving. But have you ever looked at a cell in a microscope?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever maxed out on what you can see in that cell?
Yes.
So you're saying that there was a point that you went so deep into the cell that you couldn't see anything anymore,
Based on
based on the microscope you had.
Right.
But no, it's not that you couldn't see it anymore. It's that the microscope couldn't go any further.
Correct.
But if you got a higher power microscope, you can go even further into that cell.
100%.
That's what they're experiencing with the universe, that is never ending. Like, it doesn't stop. Like, it just keeps going. Like, the more that they think they know, they get another high powered microscope, and it's something else opens up. So it's not evolution. It's a more expansive perspective.
True. You know what? I'm going to say this. What is, and what was, and what is and was always been.
Agreed. And this is exactly why I don't get involved in trying to decode the Bible. Because when I was on your side of the fence, I was trying to decode the Bible. The reason why I got and mind you, I maxed out my capability on your side of the fence. There was a moment in time where I'll never forget the moment that I realized that God had to be real. I mean, I've had many stints over the years where I felt like God had to be real. But I've always like kind of lost my way and went back into the world, and then came back to God, and then went back into the world. But what really stopped me this time from going back into the world, and what really has me carrying around my Bible with me and really understanding that God is the creator of all things. One day I told you, I went back to the bottom line.
Yeah.
I went back to zero financially.
Right. I remember
But like,
that.
people don't understand, like, when I go back to zero financially is different than when other people go back to zero financially. They're like, how? I'm like, well, I have unlimited access to money. So even if I go down to zero financially, I could still get some money.
Right, right.
What was keeping me at zero was the fact that my bills were astronomically high.
That's usually what zero means.
Yeah, zeroed out, meaning everything was going back to bills, but there was no money left over. I couldn't go out. I couldn't eat out. I couldn't eat. I had to eat like the bare minimum. Like it was just bad.
Right.
So I had no extra money to even conduct my business. Everything was just going to bills. One day I had to do this in wild activation, my brother. I never told this story before publicly.
Mm.
I was doing an activation for Zeus Network. I'll never forget this. Okay? Literally. I was doing an activation for Zeus Network. I had to get them 13 Rolls Royces, a Lamborghini Urus, and 10 Escalades, and a yacht.
How did you pull that off, man? How did you pull that off?
That's what I'm trying to explain to you, my brother. What I'm trying to explain to you is that they called me for the gig and I was dealing with these issues and I accepted it knowing because my guy that worked in the company was the one who was connecting all the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My guy was an executive at the company, so he was the one who was piecing everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already, done an activation with them before when they were working with Floyd Mayweather. I did their whole activation then. And then they came back and I'm dealing with this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, the way my guy works with me is like, because him and I are brothers, he'll call me and say, listen, I need another Cullinan. I need another, like, he's pulling in, they need more and more cars, bigger and bigger yachts. And he's like, yo, I'll pay it back to you later.
Mm.
I'm sitting here like, dog, like they just ordered another 3 Cullinans and another yacht, and they're trying to give me the money later. And I have to pay for it now.
Mm.
I had no money. I had literally $13 left over, my brother. $13. I'm not talking about after I got all this stuff for them. I'm saying I only had that left over after I paid everything I needed to pay. There was no money. He didn't call me a month before. And he called me 2 days before and said, we're coming in town. Can you do this? I had no money. I was not prepared for them.
How did you pull that off?
I'm telling you, it's the power of God, man. Like I told people all the time, like God, he was not interested in making me look like a fool. He wasn't. And he knew that the things that I was doing was for him because I didn't even really want to do it because I knew that I wasn't ready. And God just pushed me. He's like, no, believe that it could be done. That's the only reason why I accepted it, my brother. I knew I wasn't ready to do that. You called me 2 days before, 24 hours before, and I had to get you 20 cars and I had to get you 2 yachts. And I know how you move already. Like, these people move heavy. It's not like normal. Like, I tell people all the time, like, you guys think you know what money looks like. Like, I've been around Warren Buffett, Michael Jordan, all of these people. When you move with Zeus Network, it's a little different. Because, like, they're liquid cash. Like, they're getting $20 million a month residually, something like that, maybe more. As far as if you look up the amount, you could find this out. Look at the amount of people they have subscribe to their organization.
I've looked how many content creators they have.
Yeah, how many
names.
But how many people they have subscribed that's paying their $5.99 or $4.99 a month? Like you can do the math on how many, and that's just what they're reporting, right? But if we look at what they're reporting, how many people they have subscribed every month?
I'm gonna look. I'm looking right now. They have 200,000. Let me wait. Say Zeus Network is a digital video streaming service. It has over 1 million app downloads.
All right. So imagine you have over 1 million app downloads reported, right? Because we don't know if there's more than that. We just know that that's what that site is saying. Because I think that's old. That was like a year and a half ago that I read that.
So right now it says how many people use the Zeus network? 81,001. No, wait, 81,100,000 100
81 million.
Hold on, 81. Yeah. 81, comma 120, comma 000.
That's how many people use Zeus Network.
Right.
81 million.
81,120,000.
That's how many subscribers Zeus Network has.
Yeah. How many people use the Zeus network? Yeah. What is Zeus? Okay.
100 million people, global audience. So, my brother, you do the math. 100 million people
Even
global.
if 10% is using.
No. 100. Everybody is paying $4.99 for that platform, bro.
Yeah,
per
they
month.
have to be able to.
Per month. So I'm trying to explain something to you. I've been around some of the wealthiest people in the world, my brother. I've never seen money being thrown around like this. It's a little different. You know what I'm saying? Like Warren Buffett is not throwing around bags like this. Bill Gates is not throwing around bags like this. I mean, here's my thing. I'm not saying that these people don't have money, cash. They can't gain access to massive amounts of cash. But we talking about unlimited, printed, monthly revenue, compounded year over year over year. Like these people have money that you can't believe.
Wow, it says it was founded by social media personality Strom Powers, Amanda Thurney, King Bosch, and television producer
Lemuel Plummer.
Lemuel Plummer.
So my thing is, but Lemuel Plummer is the owner. My thing is this, right? Imagine.
So he's a billionaire.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you, but it's not a billionaire like a billionaire net worth. Like we're talking about a billionaire in liquid cash, bro. Like available liquid cash. Like there are billionaire in available liquid cash. I've seen the money move. It's a different type of bag. And I've been around all of the most wealthy. Side note, people don't understand. I want to make this clear. The reason why I've been around all of these super wealthy, high net worth individuals is because I used to be involved in a very exclusive community called, it was a family office community. I won't reveal the name, but it was a family office community. Family offices are individuals that have.
It says he's worth $5 million.
Wrong.
Yeah. They're usually wrong.
Wrong. He might be worth $5 million, but the company that he controls is worth $1 billion. Let's look at what a family office is. So a family office is a private company that manages a family's assets and needs, typically for ultra high net worth families. So I was in a private network. Just to give you an example, man, you remember the movie that came out last year? It was called movie about sex trafficking. Yeah, it was called Sound of Freedom. Have you heard that movie? Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, but I've never watched it.
All right, so Sound of Freedom, the guy who created that movie, the guy who was playing one of the characters in that movie, he was played as the guy who played he looked kind of Colombian-ish, but he was like the wealthy guy that was going in with the cop to go undercover and pretend like he wanted to buy all of these kids. The guy who played that role in that movie, his name is Paul Hutchinson. He's actually one of the EPs on the movie, but this story is his story. Paul Hutchinson's been to my house, bro. Like I have Paul Hutchinson's number on my phone. Like me and Paul Hutchinson are cool. Like these are, and he's super wealthy. 15 billion. Right? Like these are the kind of people that I know. You understand what I'm saying? Like these are the type of people that I've run around with. Like for years. So when people are sitting here and they're like, they don't understand the level of power, it's like, well, You know, there's people on this planet that have money that you can't even believe. There's people that have power that you can't even believe. I've seen things that you can't even believe is possible. So when these people are running around saying they have money because they have a couple $1,000,000, it's like you don't really have money. Like you cannot do what Zeus Network has done. You cannot rent 20 cars, 13 Rolls Royces, 10 Escalades. Sorry, 10 Rolls Royces.
I disagree.
13 Escalade. You can't, bro. I've been the game. You can't do it.
Hold on.
There's nothing to disagree with,
no,
bro.
No, hear me out. Hear my point.
Go ahead.
My point. If you have the money, you can. So when you say you cannot, you're talking about the average people.
That's all I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
I'm talking to the average person that thinks that they have some money.
Mm-hmm.
$1 million, $2 million, $3 million. You're not rocking with these. You're not rocking at the level that we're talking about. You're still pretty much poor. Mm-hmm. One thing you purchase can wipe out your entire income.
And what a lot of people don't understand, when you have a physical $1 million in your account, the spending value of it is only $666,000, because that's what the dollar is worth.
From a spending power perspective, it depends on where you're spending the money at, but yes.
Well, we're talking about in the United States.
In the United States.
In Europe, it's less in Europe.
In Europe, it's less. In places in Latin America, is more.
Correct.
So it's really a matter of like where you're spending the money, and that's why, to your point, somebody said something to me that I'll never forget. One of my older mentors, he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, "America's like a casino. Mm-hmm. You never truly win at the casino until you take the money out of the casino." So for you guys that are making money in America and spending your money in America, welcome to the casino, baby.
I've got wind of a trend that there are a lot of very well-off people, even some people with $5 million. They cash out and move out of the country.
That's the smartest thing to do.
Yeah,
that's how you win the game.
Like this.
What do you think? What do you think Russell Simmons has done?
Yeah, cashed out and moved out of the country.
What do you think Jay-Z what does it look like Jay-Z's doing right now?
Cashing out and moving out of the country. So it was the same thing with one of the founders of Facebook. He cashed out and not entirely and moved out of the country. He lived in Singapore.
The biggest lie that we've all been told is that America is the greatest country on earth. America is the greatest country on earth to make money for now. But if you haven't traveled outside of America to a place where they're going to treat you like you're made out of gold, then you don't know what the best country in the world to live in is, because there are places in the world where you can take your American dollar and you'll be worshipped over there. You can get massages 3 times a day, your food cooked. With 100,000, you're a millionaire. And so my thing is, do you really want to sit here and burn all of your money in America? I just don't subscribe to that anymore, man. I believe that America's for making money and other places is to live, and other places are better for living. And I tell people this all the time. Like, if you're not actually trying to live, if you're not actually trying to engage in capitalism in America, why are you here?
Have you ever heard of Nauru?
The place?
Yeah, the country.
Yeah.
The island. Mm-hmm. The smallest island country in the world. It's so tiny. It's like just a few miles big. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the richest place in the world. Mm-hmm. All right? I just pulled it up. It says, Nauru is the world's smallest island country and is considered to be the richest island in the world per capita. That means everybody there is rich. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you make your money here and move to Nauru, you live like an emperor.
And don't get it twisted, guys. Enjoy America. I'll enjoy the fruits of life outside of America. Let's put it like that. Like, America is not for people that want to live an incredible life. America is for people that want to make money for real. And so if you don't approach America from that perspective, if you're here partying and hanging out and drinking and spending money and trying to look cool, you've missed the boat.
America's
You're still
a corporation.
America's a corporation. You're still in the casino spending the money in the casino.
Yeah.
It's like you're won your money in the casino and then you go back to the table and start gambling again. Okay, how long do you think that money's going to stay in your hand? The key is to get out the game. That's the key, is to get out the game eventually. Like, you don't want to be in the game forever. Eventually you want to get out the game.
Gambling is an addiction, though. You have to remember that for some people, gambling is an addiction.
Yeah, but they're not. But these people don't really understand that they're in America doing this because they're in America specifically because they've been told that America's the greatest country on earth. And like I said, America's the greatest country on earth for making money. It's very important that you add that additional piece to this. America is the greatest country in the world for making money. It's not the greatest country in the world for living, and this is an absolute fact. It doesn't matter if you can't tell me it's an opinion. The reason why you can't tell me it's an opinion is because the food is low quality. That is a fact. You guys are being manipulated by the music and the TV and and they're controlling what you think about politics. That is a fact. That's what I mentioned first. The food is trash. That's a fact. The quality of everything that you eat, everything that you do in America is imported from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So America is not the greatest place in the world. And guess what? While we're on this topic, bro, the reason why I'm pro Donald Trump is because the very people that have made this country terrible are literally trying to blame Donald Trump for the reason why the country is terrible, but they've been in office for the last 4 years. And all they've done, and this is stuff you can look up, this is not something that I have to just say, these are facts that you can look up.
Facts.
All they did was undo all of the policies that Trump put in place.
Facts.
So if the country is terrible and all you did was undo the policies that Trump put in place, then who's responsible for the country being terrible? I don't remember one person telling me that the country was terrible when Donald Trump was in office. What they did was that Donald Trump was a racist, though. That's what they did say. But nobody told me that the gas prices were higher than they've ever been, that the food costs more than it's ever been, that housing costs more than it's ever been, that we were in more potential wars than we've ever been. No one said that when he was in office. So I can't keep sitting here. I can't keep sitting here and listen to these idiots run around with this rhetoric that they've been told on TV. I said in the beginning of this podcast, do your research on things before you do them.
You know why they run around like that? This is why.
Never underestimate a woman's delusion.
Correct. And they feminized every single person that's running around thinking that the whole goal. See, this is the problem right now. This is why the problem is that women are so excited about having a woman in office that they don't even care about who this woman is.
The logics, like when I hear that they say, oh, I'm just going to vote because it's going to be a woman, or oh, I'm going to vote because it's a black woman, or oh, I'm going to vote because it's a Jamaican, I'm like what about the policies?
Yeah, what about the policies? Like, are you kidding me? You're going to vote this woman in office because she's a black woman? All right, so let's do this. Kamala Harris said herself that she was the first Asian American to hold a high political office. So she doesn't even consider herself to be a black woman. No. Soshahi. Why are we sitting here saying that she's a black woman when she has not identified as a black woman? The only time that she's identifying as a black woman is when she's on a network either talking about black people or on a network talking to black people. There is at no point has this individual ever claimed to be black.
Because
Never underestimate a woman's delusion.
Correct.
that's why. Because we, as what I know, what I've noticed about us as a people is that we want to be told what to like, what to listen to, what to eat. We don't want to research what to eat, what to like, what to listen to, what to watch. Why are we doing these things? I ask myself, and
It's in their DNA, my
it's
brother.
in their DNA, because this is, we want to believe it, and so henceforth we go forth believing it.
It's in our DNA because we've been told that everything the white man says is right. And he's the one who's supposed to dictate your life. So that's why you see a lot of these clips online saying that that black women need to respect their husbands the way they respect their white boss. That's why that exists, because black people have been convinced that everything that white people say is right and everything they say is potentially wrong. The reality is that once you stop subscribing to the ridiculousness of it all, you can start to look at reality for what it is. I just want you to look at reality for what it is.
Yeah.
Just look at reality for what it is and stop looking at it through your emotional lens. Just look at it from a logical perspective. If you like Kamala Harris, name me a policy that she has in place, 3 policies that she has in place that you agree with. Just name them. If this is the person that you like, then explain to me exactly why she's been in office for the last 4 years and hasn't done anything that she claims that she's going to do.
And blaming everything on Donald Trump.
It's still blaming Donald Trump, even though her and Biden have been in the office for the last 4 years. Okay, so then here's what a Democrat will say, because I've already gone down this rabbit hole with the Democrats. So what they say is, oh, the reason why Kamala Harris didn't do anything is because she has no power. Really? The vice president has no power in the United States. Have you looked that up, or is that something that you just believe is true? Because if we look it up right now, you will realize that what you just said is 100% a lie. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and just obliterate the lie for them right now.
It's in their DNA, like you said. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
The Constitution names the vice president of the United States as the president of the Senate. In addition to serving as the preceding officer, the vice president has the sole role to break a tie vote in the Senate and formally presides over the receiving and counting of electoral ballots cast in presidential elections. If you think that the individual who has the ability to break a tie has no power, you're crazy.
Yeah, you're delusional.
You're delusional. So to sit here and tell me that or to tell anyone that she didn't have any power, and this is the reason why these things were put in place, this is the reason why the country was floundering for the last 4 years, because she didn't have any power. Let me remind you that she had a 4% approval rate before she became Biden's running mate. Let me remind you of that, which means the American people didn't even want this woman in office from the very beginning.
They did not co-sign her.
They didn't co-sign her from the very beginning. They got President Biden, who they also didn't pick, because they removed Bernie Sanders from the ballot.
If that did not happen, Bernie would have been our guy.
Bernie would have been our guy.
He was one of the main front runners.
And guess what? They removed him from the ballot, and they went with Sleepy Joe. And then Sleepy Joe picked Kamala Harris, who none of you guys wanted. And now you're putting a person that nobody wanted in office. You're trying to help her get into the office now. Why? Because you think because you've been convinced Donald Trump is a racist. I want you guys to look at media differently than the way you're currently looking at it, so that you can start to look at things from a different vantage point. When I watch President Biden speak, there are numerous occasions where Biden speaks from one place to the next. Like, he's able to flow with his conversation. There's no interruptions, no edits in his communication. It's just like we're watching it right now. Zero edits. It's just Biden speaks, Biden finishes speaking.
He was very fluid.
When Donald Trump speaks, you will notice that there's always edits in the clip. People don't think like that. There's always little edits in the clips that they play on national TV when Donald Trump is speaking. Why? Why are you constantly editing this man's clips? Why can't you just let his clips play all the way through? I knew that they were doing that in 2016 when he was running against Hillary Clinton, because in that presidential election, when they convinced the world that he's a racist, and here's the thing, I know Donald Trump is not a racist because I met the man personally. And in the 90s, when he was running around with Snoop Dogg and Tupac and all of these different people, and he was putting Star Jones on and allowed her to win the Celebrity Apprentice and called her his best friend, when he was running around with all the black people and everybody in black culture was saying that they wanted to be like Trump, right? When that was going on, he was for black people at that time.
Facts.
But now all of a sudden Donald Trump is a racist and he hates black people. And the reason why you guys have been taught, have believed that, is because when he was running against Hillary Clinton, they took this soundbite from one thing he said, "What do you have to lose?" and they turned it into this huge thing. This huge propaganda campaign called "What Do You Have to Lose?" And they put their own rhetoric on top of it and then fed you the clip. But I said, you know what? I met this dude in real life. Like, I need to really watch this I need to watch this for what it is.
You know what?
So hold on. I watched this whole interview. I watched this whole debate when he was going against Hillary Clinton, and he said, "What do you have to lose?" And what he said before that, without the context, it sounds a little sketchy. With the context, it sounds perfect. Donald Trump said, "You've already had these individuals in office, and your public schools are still failing. There's still Planned Parenthood in your neighborhood killing your babies. There's still, your roads are still not being fixed. You've already voted for these people. You already know what policies they have in place, and you already know what they will and will not do. What do you have to lose for voting for me? What do you have to lose by voting for me?" That is what he said. And it's true. You guys all ran out to vote for Obama, and the biggest thing that this man did was kill Gaddafi while he was in office. That's the biggest thing that he did.
And
messed up Libya, and now him and Michelle are proactively pushing the transgender agenda. These are the things that Obama's known for.
They were doing that when they were in office.
They were doing that when they were in office. These are the things that Obama's known for.
Right now, it appears that agenda is still being pushed.
Of course, it's still being pushed.
So it makes you wonder who is actually running the government. Who's actually the president?
Listen, it's not Sleepy Joe. And I don't know why, because I said this before. The only person that they have that I think has the capacity to beat, the only woman they have that has the capacity to beat Donald Trump. I probably won't even put this out because, you know what I'm saying?
Tulsi Gabbard.
It's crazy. Like, you know, at a certain point. But the only person that they didn't, the only person that the only woman they have that could potentially win against Donald Trump is Michelle Obama. But why doesn't she want to do it?
Makes you wonder, right?
She doesn't want to do it because, you know, go look up Joan Rivers. Go look up what Joan Rivers had to say about.
I know.
So my thing is, at the end of the day, it's kind of like,
I heard it too.
Yeah. So my thing is, at the end of the day, these are topics that I won't even put out because it gets too, I kind of keep it on I'll go PG-13 with it. But the reality is, like, when you really look at it, it's like you have to just look at everything for the truth. And the truth is that we as a people have been getting scammed and shammed and lied to from the very beginning. Like, you guys really believe that the Democratic Party was for you You guys don't understand that the Democratic Party was. You guys don't understand that the Democratic Party was actually where all of the slave states were, and that the free states were Republican states. You guys don't know that yet. Like you don't know that yet. So you still think Republicans are racist and Democrats are the ones that are for you, but the Democratic states were the slave states and the Republican states were the free states.
Yes, sir.
Once you start to really understand the truth, then you can stop believing the lie. But until you guys pick up a book and read, I'm tired of these individuals having all of these opinions with no information or facts to back it up. Like, just stop talking. Just stop involving yourself in grown folks' business. If you have not done any research, you should have, at the very least, you should have zero opinion about who's in office at the very least. If you don't even want to bother to do any research, do not vote. Right. But if you do want to bother to do research, and when I say research, I don't mean sitting here listening to other people's opinions and coming up with your own opinions. No, read the information. Once you really understand the information and you do the research, then you can make a decision. But right now, most of you guys, and unfortunately it's the ones in our culture, most of the people in our culture are just literally just like, they're just parrots, and they think that they're smart and they're really not. And you guys need to cut it out, do some research, learn something, and speak with intelligence. Right? So then we can all be respected. You know, it's not cool to be dumb. It's not cool to not think. It's not cool to have opinions about things that you haven't researched. It's not cool. It's not cool. Just because social media gave you a platform doesn't mean you should use it to spread misinformation to people. It doesn't mean that. Just because social media gave you a platform doesn't mean that you should sit here and say all of your opinions on social media, because sometimes your opinions are wrong. And there's people that follow you, that believe in you, that listen to what you're saying, and you're leading them astray because you're sitting here making comments about things that you know nothing about, and you're passionate about these things. Why? Because of the color of their skin. So now the very people who kept you out of voting because of the color of your skin are now manipulating you to vote because of the color of your skin, you fool.
I know.
Like, they are literally working these people out mentally. Like, think about it. Just 40, 50 years ago, you couldn't vote because 60 years ago, you couldn't vote because of the color of your skin. 70 years ago, whenever that was, you couldn't vote because of the color of your skin, my brother.
I know.
Now they're utilizing that same tactic to get you guys to vote for who you want them to vote, who they want you to vote for.
remember when we were having a conversation and asked you, are we still slaves? These are some of the reasons why I asked the question.
I mean, do I think that we're still slaves? No. Do I think that a large segment of our people are choosing to still be slaves? Yes. I think now free choice works. There's more free choice and free thought than ever before in life. But I also believe that people are making the wrong choices because of the deep rooted belief that they have that nothing's real until it shows up on the TV.
I will remix that. We are choosing to remain slave. We're choosing to perpetuate that slavery mentality. The ones that decided that they want to just blindly do things simply because a certain group of people said you should do it this way. So are we still slave? We are not. Essentially, we are not slave, but we're being treated and being propagandized to think like we're slave. The same tactics that was used then, it's being used now, just in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, create the problem and create the solution. Isn't that what who said that? Bill Gates or
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates said that. Yeah. Create the problem and create the solution.
And on that note, I think we could wrap it up here.